Hi, it's Lori at Positive Thanks Living, and I'm finished 3 projects, and it took me a long time, yes. This one was the first with Cara Brandon and Natalie at Line.Arrow, and it's a folio, obviously in the lavender and lace concept, and it's a more vintage style. And then I made this one. It's a tea and dessert journal, and it's made from a tea towel, vintage. My mom's actually. Here's the other half. And yeah, I made it out of a packaging box like this. See? And covered it with the tea towel using this Ultra Bond heat and bond, so it's very securely down on the packaging, and then sewed around it and embellished it just a little bit. I'm not, I realize, good at putting a lot of things on a cover. I have used this chiffon ribbon throughout all 3 journals. I've just fallen in love with it. So instead of lace, or a lot of lace, there is some lace in here, it's the chiffon ribbon that's the star. And then, because, as you can see, this journal, the Tea and Dessert Journal, is incredibly full, 3 signatures, and it has ephemera in it. But I got so carried away over the period of time that I made way too much ephemera. I'll put a picture up here just so you can see the extras. And I wanted to still include it because I was planning on putting this in the Etsy shop for whoever would like it with the folio. So I created a 3rd journal. Simple again. So it's just a little doily holding it closed with these medallions that are not attached, they're paper clipped on. And then this journal can be a standalone journal once you've taken all the other ephemera out. If you want to use it somewhere else, or use it in the Tea and Dessert Journal and make it the alligator mouth, you can use this as a standalone journal. So as you can see, there's little positive statements in here with the extra ephemera for the Tea and Dessert Journal. And I had fun just playing with different things to hold the ephemera. Lots of writing space if you were going to use it as a journal on its own. And every time you see this little pocket image, it's a place to journal too. So, double pockets. Anyhow, this was the extra ephemera that I was left over. So I made a journal. It's just a 1 signature 3-hole pamphlet stitch with this little lace chiffon ribbon again to close it. Now I'm going to show you the Tea and Dessert Journal. And I tried something new here. It is, again, that cardboard thing. These are disposable tea packages, like if you wanted to have loose tea. And I have a bunch of those that I have used for loose tea. Obviously, these are still new. So something tucked in there. And this here is magnetic, because I didn't know if you'd like the extras. You could leave it just plain. You could put that on there. This is a label, so you can write on there. So it's a shape it the way you'd like, but it's magnetic. I thought that was kind of cool. We have another chiffon ribbon tie just to hold it closed. And with the amount of ephemera that's in here, it stays closed just very easily. Yeah, easily. So here we go. Tea and Dessert Journal. These were some packaging that I covered with the lavender and lace paper from Cara Brandon and Natalie at Line Dot Arrow, and they were extras also. So I have two of them, one at the front and one at the back behind here, and you can use them as writing boards. I try to include a writing board in each of my journals that I make, because for me a journal is beautiful to look at, absolutely, and has unique items in it, but I also want a place to write. So there's a bunch of these envelopes, 3, 4 maybe, that are made from encyclopedia paper that is from the late 1800s, and I've covered them with napkins so that the napkin holds the integrity of the paper, because it's so old it is fragile, but as soon as you glue the sheer napkins onto it, it magically becomes useful again. Rather than these pages being thrown into a recycling space or the garbage, I've used them to make things with. Like this page, same thing. I covered both sides. This one obviously with the pretty napkin part, and this one with just one layer of the white. So you can write on this, but still see it as a unique, more than 100-year-old piece of paper. And because it's tea and dessert, I have these washi stickers from Your Creative Studio Bake Box that they sent me. This is a tea and Easter egg dye piece of paper. And this is from a tea party book. And these watercolor, now this is commercially made, new, these papers that you'll see in different colors, but I thought it went beautifully. Got little seam binding flowers, and I'll link below who made those. I didn't make these. This is lace. It's hand crocheted. It's from a vintage tablecloth, table runner, small tablecloth, and I've cut it up. And this is a bag with something tucked into it. I did a whole bunch of these edges because I covered with cards with encyclopedia paper, and so I had the edges, so what I did was emboss them. And throughout this journal you're going to see details that have a pearlized thing. I invested in some of these, it's called Kuretake pearl colors, and they're on things throughout this journal, just to add a little bit of sheen to things. You can see that maybe. This cup has one. Now this is a vintage piece of music, and another one of those. And there's stuff in everywhere. But again, I didn't want to put too much in this because it would be incredibly gator-mouthed. Some dessert stickers. And there's tags that are sewn with my sewing machine. And other labels that I created, the image. Yeah, I'm gonna and in each of the 3 signatures, there are buttons, antique buttons from my mother's button box. And you can see a little bit of the sheen where I put some of the paint onto the encyclopedia pages both where the napkin is and where the napkin isn't. This was a doily. So there's a doily piece in each of these journals. No, sorry, not a doily. It's a handkerchief. And it's vintage too. My mom moved into an assisted living and had to narrow her life, all her possessions. And since I'm an only child, I have all of her things, and you don't want to just willy-nilly get rid of those that you yourself can't use. I can't use all of it. So some went to our children, and some I'm just sort of including with the things that I make. In this journal, you're going to see a picture of my mum in 1960, where she was celebrating her birthday with some dessert. My mum and dad, when they met, my dad was 13 years older than my mum, and their first date was to get a piece of pie and a coffee. And my mother was the oldest of 5 children. My father was an only child, and he reached across the table to have a bite of my mother's pie. And of course, growing up in a household where you have a bunch of children, my mother wasn't used to that. And my father being an only child, you shared everything. So that was their introduction. And they were married and for 30 plus years until my dad passed. I was a 21-year-old new mom. So my mother was a widow from the time she was 51 years old until now, of course. And she's almost 90. This is acetate behind a teacup. Or teacup out. Cut out. There we go. These are medallions. You'll see them here and there in all 3. This one I used as a way to hold the chiffon ribbon. Yeah, so a lot of these little things like this napkin, it's not a regular paper napkin. I don't know what it is. It was in my mom's stuff, and it's very strong. It doesn't tear, or it tears with a great amount of effort. So a little fabric flip. Again, here's the hanky, you can see as I go through now, another napkin, again in the middle of this signature. And I've painted these die cuts. And you've got little tea sayings, bless ordinary, everyday afternoon tea, throughout the journal, along with the stickers, the washi stickers that have dessert themes. And these pages from the tea party book, they have some recipes on them and some menus on them, and I thought it was a nice addition. And here's the picture of my mum, and it's original. I put it into this little jewelry. I don't know what it's made out of. I can't get it out easily. Obviously, you could take it out if you're not interested in having it in here, but I just thought, you know what? I see a lot of junk journalers put older images in. And 1960, in Canada, in Calendar, it's a little lake town that is in northern Ontario of Canada. And she's having tea and dessert for her birthday. Yeah. I tried to see if I could find the place where she would have eaten, but I don't know. Again, the paint that has that pearlized color, just a little bit here and there. These book pages are from a book that's, again, from the late 1800s. And this is where I was playing with the chiffon ribbon. I tore it in half and I put it on the page. Die cut that I've embossed and then colored with that, or painted with the pearlized paper paint. This is a little teacup image that someone made that from online. I'll link below to her. As you can see, I embossed this paper. That's the encyclopedia paper covered by napkins, and it's so soft. I wanted to add texture into this. Here's an envelope, another one. This is with the napkin over encyclopedia paper again. And a glassine bag that I put one of the teacups on that makes a little pocket. And I have a bunch of these little labels. So if you wanted to put a different label behind here, you could. It slides in and out. It's not going to fall out, but it does come in and out. And little flippy thing with the tag in. And a flip out. And you can see there's just collaging. And this is a die cut that I painted, so it has a little bit of a shimmer. And the third signature with the buttons. And if you don't like the buttons in there, you can cut them off and, yeah, do what you like with them. And a tuck, just with some extra paper. Another one of those flowers. This is a sewn, I think this is an handmade bloom. Freebie from her Facebook group. This is the encyclopedia paper that I've made into a pocket. I've embossed and made into a pocket. Yeah. Wax seal. And then just a little card tucked in behind here. And more pockets. And here's the chiffon ribbon. This is the first time that I've ever done the gathered with the sewing machine chiffon ribbon. That turned out really nicely. I like that a lot. And this is cut out so it's backed with something strong so it's not going to break. It's always the small pieces that make the big picture. Isn't that our junk journaling? I know. Yeah. So we have a pocket here. And the second, you can use it as a tag or you can use it as a writing board as you choose. And the back. Again, not embellished. I thought, you know what, we need to enjoy this linen tea towel with its unique rose. Different, huh? So it's not quite vintage, but it's filled with vintage papers, antique papers, really. And I'm going to make a tassel with the chiffon ribbon to go on there. All right. I'm going to show you this one, this last one. This is the folio that I made in a challenge. And it's made out of 3 mailers, so you can see the window envelopes. And each envelope has a tag with something interesting looking through the window. And the chiffon ribbon that is tied to close it with tags. And this you can remove. It's with an elastic. See? So it's a little booklet you can remove. And this is a little writing pad. Again, you can remove from here. And here is the other side. And it has the same writing boards or tags or however you want to put it that show through nicely there. So this is going to be on my Etsy. These 3 items together because, hey, they have coordinating things and you can use it. You could give them away as gifts. I don't know, keep one and give it away as a gift. It would be an interesting thing for a wedding. Yeah, spring, summer wedding. Pretty colors. And this chiffon ribbon. I mean, isn't that beautiful? Now I'm going to make a tassel that is removable out of chiffon ribbon, so it'll hang down here over the spine. Just put all of the colors together because you'll find them all in the journal. And just, I mean, this one has a little more texture than the others, than the colored ones. But it's so silky soft. I'm constantly surprised at how silky soft these are. Cut it there. I've increased the storage in my makeshift craft room because I share an office with my husband. Go this way. By getting another rolling cart. The one cart I have has drawers, and this cart is one of those bins, 3 high. And it's allowed me to take my stuff with me wherever I want to craft. Now, I think what I'm going to do is use a bulb pin and then attach it to here. Maybe 2 of them. I don't know. Let me see what I can find. Here they are. And let's see if we can find the, yep, there we go. So again, you can use this, whoever gets it can use it as what I'm making, or you can take it apart, because I'm not sewing it together, and just use the chiffon ribbon wherever you'd like to use it. I like making things that someone else can personalize. Just tuck it here. There we go. Simple, easy, and yet incredibly pretty, isn't it? Here we go. We'll put it on the top, and then if it were on your bookshelf, you'd see this hanging down. So there we go. Yeah, for you to play with and make your own. Lots of chiffon ribbon. That's unique to this group, that's for sure. I'll put a couple photos at the end of this video. Take care. It's Lori at Positive Thanks Living. Happy crafting. I wish you well.